Living online is a very difficult thing, and as a person that is very much not social in real life, um, I spent a lot of time thinking why I was feeling in different ways while living online, and I want to kind of go through them. This is not a cultured discussion; it's more a stream of feelings that I had and that I wanted to build up. Uh, not not that I wanted to build up. I wanted to explain because I thought about it a lot. I don't know how to express myself in English, and you'll have to forgive my pronunciation at times. I have a screen here uh, where I'm gonna write down things as they come. I don't have a script, but I had these three different things that I wrote down. How do I walk? Input lag, and what are you up to? These are three different things that I think cover the biggest problems I had living online. Now, how do I walk is an interesting question because when you get to know somebody on the internet, you hear their voice sometimes. Depends on if you go on voice chats often or if you just talk to people. But what you get to know them is maybe a photo, standing still, their voice, how they write things down. And although it might feel like a lot, it is very limited. Very, very limited. Uh, how do you walk is a question that came to my mind a few months ago when I was talking to a person, right? And they were hanging out with another friend that came visiting for one day, and they were doing, and they were like just showing off in a webcam. I'm showing off in a sense that they were just hanging around with me in voice chat like they usually do. They were just in the same room, and so they decided to turn on the webcam for the first time. And I saw them walk, I guess, for as weird of a concept. Um, and it's something very unique. Walking is something very unique. Walking, you do uh, almost like the first thing as a kid, right? Before like learning actual languages, you learn how to walk usually, and it's your method of exploring the world. Walking is the biggest kind of movement you can do in any kind of situation. Uh, that is all to go towards what I would call world impact, physical world impact. Right. When you touch something, it reacts to it. You pick up a piece of paper, you can crumble it. All right. That's well, I don't know how to write physical. Let's probably this. Something like this, or is it too wise? This is a dumb, dumb problem to have right now. I'm gonna look it up. Did I get it right? No, I got it wrong. It's the opposite. Okay. Amazing. Physical world impact. Walking is exploring. Walking is how you portray yourself, not only as a voice but as a movement. Everybody knows how to walk, barring some very small exceptions. And even in those exceptions, you can go and say the way they move their hands, the way they move their eyes, and how they express themselves with their face is something that is not perceivable throughout the internet. and so this feeling of alienation that invaded me during that period, if that makes sense, because obviously it's not like I have it in my mind constantly. It's only when I'm feeling down or when I'm feeling alone, where I think how far away I am from knowing a person. Because for as silly as it sounds, I don't know how they walk. Right? They could be walking like this, with their hips forward, hanging around. Like, this is a very silly walk, but this is how somebody walks on this earth, right? Or they could be with their shoulders locked, and incredible interest maybe towards their shoelaces, because maybe that's how they're made. That's what they like to look at while they're walking, right? Or they could just simply be walking normally, but they have a large arm swing, right? And it's something that is missing, right? It's missing the physical contact. It's missing the physical representation of a person in how you know them. The tone of like the chat, when you write in a chat, you're missing the tone of voice and like the meaning of a sentence. When you talk in voice, even though you have a tone and you have like a way of talking, you don't have a physical expression. And it's something that very much alienates me from people that are online, and reasons why I feel incredibly detached at times with how I interact online and how I interact in real life. That is to go to the point of having talked a ton online, I don't know how to physically interact with people most of the time. At least in a friendly situation, I know how to be formal, I know how to be kind, and nice. Okay, sorry, I was answering a message. I know how to be nice, I know how to be formal, and now I know how to like develop in normal situations. But in a friendly situation where you have to have a friendly contact with a person, it becomes much harder for me to deal with where there is emotional attachment in place. And this also devolves into what I'm able to do, right? As a physical person, as a person that exists physically. I don't know. I forget that I can do things in a normal day-to-day basis. That it literally becomes forgetting, because since I don't deal with physical people, and I am online so much, I don't deal with myself as a real person. If that makes even like the slightest bit of sense, right? It becomes harder to take care of yourself. It becomes harder to acknowledge who you have around, or what you have around, the state of your room. Um, how long is your beard? Sometimes I don't. I go for a long while without looking at my beard in the mirror. It becomes quite concerning. Uh, this Sorry for the long pause, but I was kind of recollecting my thoughts. Goes into input lag. I guess. I guess it does. What do I mean by input lag? Input lag. When I press a button, a letter appears on the screen. Nice, we got it. I'm gonna press a button, a letter is gonna appear on the screen. Let's do it. I'll make it bigger. Alright. Button. Nice, I got a button. I pressed the right characters in the right sequence to form a word. That works very well. When I'm talking to people, I press buttons. That is my physical expression. We go back to the physical. This is a discussion is always going to go back to the physical, right? What is the problem with this? Is that when I talk without having to process too much of my thoughts. When I'm pressing a button, I try to the best of my possibilities, to think carefully of what I write and what I say. Being kind of paranoid of hurting people's feelings in any case, a situation, or towards whoever it might be, a good or a bad person, it doesn't matter. I'm always concerned of a person's well-being. So I try as much as possible to carefully say things in a way that is not gonna sound adversary or hurtful in any way. But that also means that the person that is talking when I'm talking through text compared to voice is a different person than the person that is talking to voice. We got that. There's a layer between me thinking about something, going with my hands over the keyboard, and then another button. Think, go my hands, type. And this is another problem I have with the online. Since I already draw like furry characters in general, and I have a representation of me, an avatar, that is incredibly different, at least simply because one is more animalistic than me in the most simple sense of the whole situation. I feel like as a person online, I have a ton of different layers that separate me as a person to the person I am online. And the person I am online, although it's arguable, it's not that much different, as it is a part of me and it is my decision of representation. So if it's not my representation, it's at least my creation in a lot of ways. It's different from who I would be. But that's also like to take with a pinch of salt, because even the person that talks is not completely who I am, because it also depends a lot on who I'm talking to. But this is like a whole different discussion. I'm talking about all the layers that I go through when typing and what makes me feel distant while living online, if that makes sense. Not only that is not the only thing that happens when there is input lag, because input lag also means not only the distance between me and typing, but also from my computer to a server to another computer when I'm talking to somebody. So my way of expression is extremely limited by machinery. Uh, my way of expressing myself has to go through something that is out of my control, which is an incredibly scary thought in my head. Because when it really changes how you talk and how you feel when you're talking to somebody in real life. Simply because you start again to forget that about a lot of things you can do in real life that online would be um, limited by the physical possibilities of what buttons you can press and how good your connection is and how your buttons how fast your buttons transfer to another person, if that is anything worth considering. It also limits how you can interact with people, since you can only interact online if I'm playing a game, if I'm streaming, if I'm doing anything. It becomes limiting. Like if I didn't have a good enough connection, I would be even more closed in myself. I can only imagine what a person that cannot stream or cannot go in voice chats even because of their terrible connection. Because I already feel limited in a ton of ways because I'm playing from Europe to a person that maybe it's in the US. I have 150 ping and it feels bad. It feels like as if I'm playing slow motion, and I had this Tetris effect multiple times where I was thinking I was moving too fast because I wasn't lagging, literally, because I didn't have that physical medium that is out of my control for me to interact with things. And that is something that kind of destroyed me in a lot of ways. And like my self-esteem in general is already incredibly low if I also have to realize that a lot of these things are influenced by how you how the fact that interacting online is limited and you can only do so much uh, online. I and I transport that kind of thinking into real life. Uh, it's very concerning. It's just very concerning. That's why I wanted to talk about this in case I don't know somebody else is feeling the same exact things I'm feeling, and I'm making this kind of discussion for them. I don't know if it helps. This is just my analysis of my situation, which is probably already being talked about by other people in other books. Because I'm sure I'm not the first person to think through this kind of situations. I'm not the only one feeling this way for sure. And then there is the what are you up to, which is I think the most clear answer of all. Question, no answer. And goes into why it's feeling so shitty to draw things that I would otherwise not care too much about, because like as it's kind of being clear in the last month, I think I have posted like 2 not safe for work drawings maybe, and it's been incredibly hard to draw their commissions. They're not safe for work, right? Um, it's been boring to say the least, painful to say the most. Because as I tried more and more in the past few months to interact with people in real life to try to get out of these first two situations, right? I ended up finding myself that when I try to talk to them about what I do, and nothing came to mind. Nothing I did had any say into our discussions because it was all not safe for work. And I wouldn't find it socially acceptable to bring it in any way. That is also because of my self esteem, but really, I feel like it would be common sense to say that you don't want to say you draw not safe for work. And so I realized how detached my life online versus my life uh, in real life was. Uh, because I would end up drawing for 6 hours every day, drawing not safe for work, and I would end up feeling like I did nothing because I couldn't show it to anybody other than the people that already follow me online, which I I care for, but at the same time, because of the detachment that I have between me and them, it feels incredibly unimpactful. Um, right now, at least, for me to work on, I think I need to work on my emotivity a lot more before I can become confident that I want to work on more not safe for work. I need to work more on myself before I try to engage again in more not safe for work kind of things, if I even want to, because I still like I need to understand if that is a problem or if that is even is just one of the things that go in the middle of all this, because there's a lot of things that I think are getting in the middle and I'm trying to separate them from what is actually a problem or what I like. Okay, I don't know if it's something that I like to do, but it's causing a problem, and I need to figure out how to fix the problem while still doing something that I like to do, or if it's something that I don't like to do that is also causing a problem, but it still felt good to do because of the way I did it before. That is just telling stories, which is what I enjoy the most, really. And this is becoming. I don't know how long this video is. Hopefully, it's not too long, because otherwise, I'll die. It doesn't say. Um, but yeah, what was I up to when I drew the two comics, right? I would draw 6 hours every other day. For the first comic, I went very slow. For the second comic, I went a bit faster. But I felt like I was doing nothing. Like, what did I do the last 3 years? Those two comics I cannot show to editors, and I cannot show to close friends. So it feels like as if I did nothing, even though I did things. Is it important to have validation of editors or friends? Not the editors, but probably the friends, right? Should I get different friends? This is such a dumb thing to discuss. The main thing really is that it feels like something that doesn't make me feel like anything right now. That is either just not relevant or even more just annoying to do. I feel like I really derailed because I was trying to talk about living online. And how does this have to do with living online is simply I'm feeling poopy about it, I guess. But it's also the result of all the other things that kind of have me completely dissociating with myself a lot of times when I'm online. And how I'm just feeling shitty very often. And how I'm trying to get better with things in general. And I really want people to be passionate about the safe work that I will do, and I'm still working on it, but I haven't published anything. But since I haven't published anything, I'm not doing anything, so I gotta publish more. So what are you doing? What am I doing? Right? If you don't publish online, you're not doing anything. If you don't share things online, if you don't share things in real life, you're not doing anything. So I'm finding myself with half a leg into something that I cannot show online, and half a leg with things I'm working on for the online that are still not finished, but I'm unsure on how they will go because of how the drastic changes. Because those are things that I want to show IRL, but I don't know if the people online will like. So I guess this last point is more for myself. It's more about having literally two lives, and it's painful. And since I'm not social, it's even more painful because I had to justify myself, and I need to tell myself that I'm actually doing things when I don't know if I'm actually doing them because my brain is a goddamn mess, and it tells me no, you're not doing anything because you're not publishing anything. I'm just sorry for anybody that listened to this whole rant. I hope this summed up to anything, honestly. How do you walk? How does being online influences how you feel physically? How being far away still limits your ability to think about how you impact things in a real life scenario, and how managing both your online emotivity and offline emotivity are two completely different things, and it just becomes hard to take care of. That that's it. That's it. I don't know how to end this, so I guess this is just gonna be the end. Bye.